lived in Egypt for over 7,000 years.
97% of Egypt is desert.
They're beautiful. Have you written your will? Do you have good insurance?
No.
I can't believe this. I'm riding with a monk in a Volkswagen bus in the desert in Egypt.
Hello world, I've been waiting for a chance to see your face. Oh, hello world, I am ready for a different kind of place. And I'm flying to somewhere else, 'cause I'm searching for something else. And I'm leaving, I don't know where I'm gonna land. Oh no, yes, I'm leaving, I don't know where I'm gonna land.
Welcome to Travelers in Cairo, Egypt. I'm Patrick Michael.
I'm Barbara Alvarez.
And I'm Pierce Bunning.
This ancient North African city has a history that dates back 7,000 years. The pharaohs reigned here beginning 3100 BC, followed by centuries of Persian, Greek, and Roman rule. In 641, the Arab army conquered Egypt. Then in the 10th century, the Moors founded Cairo. Medieval Arabs called Cairo Mother of the World.
Cairo's the largest city on the African continent, and it's the capital of Egypt. It's also home to more than 15 million people, and thousands of new residents arrive every day.
This city is an open-air museum. The Great Pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, early Christian monasteries and churches, mosques of the Mamluk and Ottoman sultans, the oldest remaining Islamic university in the world, the mummies, and the treasures of King Tutankhamun. And they're all set against the backdrop of the world's most famous river, the Nile.
Because of its unique location, Cairo's a North African city with heavy Middle Eastern and European influences. It's a modern city with an ever-present past. Welcome to Cairo!
شعب مثلا عطوف من النوع اللي هو مثلا بيصعب عليه لو واحد غريب جاله بلده.
So the people, he's saying they're very hospitable, you know, they're very kind-natured, and they welcome all nationalities in their country.
Cairo is my country. I'm born in Cairo.
What's it like living in the cradle of civilization?
It's connection between old and new.
All right, so I want to show you guys how loud and chaotic this city is. Can you guys hear that? Listen to that.
ونجيب محفوظ بالفعل معروف لدى أمريكا ليه؟ لأنه خد جائزة نوبل في الآداب.
Personality is driven from its people.
I'm so proud to be Egyptian, you know.
We were traveling down Pyramid Road, and you're still in the city, and suddenly, boom, there they are in front of you. They just appear right in front of you. This is it. Just a 15-minute drive from downtown Cairo is the last of the 7 ancient wonders of the world, the Great Pyramids of Giza.
There are at least 9 pyramids here. 3 great monuments to the kings and 6 smaller tributes to their wives. The oldest and grandest of them is the Great Pyramid of Cheops, built by the pharaoh Khufu around 2500 BC.
It's 480 feet tall and it weighs 6 million tons. That makes Cheops the largest pyramid in the world.
This is what I've been waiting for. To rise up that hill and see these things that have been here since before Christ. And these are the only ancient wonders still standing. We met
Dr. Hawass, who is the director of pyramids at the Great Pyramids. This man has done more excavating and more pondering and researching and devoted his whole life to the pyramids. I guess we don't need to ask you where we are.
We are in Manhattan, I think.
So which pyramid is this?
This is the pyramid of Khufu, and this is the largest of all the 105 pyramids we have in Egypt. Then this is the largest of all, the pyramid of Khufu, and that is the pyramid that really everyone talks about it. Everyone is asking who built it, how it was built, and how they did really make the angle of the pyramid to be 51 degrees and 52 seconds, and how really they made the entrance of the pyramid to follow exactly the northern stars. And that really is the mystery of the pyramid. Then there is always magic and secrets about this pyramid. And if you want to go and see more, we can go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on.
When you come up here and see just the magnificence of it all, it's absolutely mind-blowing that not only is it here, but that someone built this 5,000 years ago.
Pierce, you're walking on something 5,000 years old.
It's
Pretty smooth, huh? Nothing is more exciting and thrilling to me than the pyramids of Egypt. This is the place where all great travelers end up. How many times do you bump your head in here?
The first place we visited was the main gallery of the pyramid, and it's a very narrow room that is perfectly designed geometrically.
When it's crowded, you don't really feel the magic of it and the energy. You have an energy. You can close your eyes here and see your past and see your future. You can see a lot.
So this is the Grand Gallery.
That leads us to the actual burial chamber of the king.
And can we go up and see that?
Let's go.
And you're looking at these beautiful polished stone walls that just go straight up, and you're thinking, man, I'm right with those guys who are tugging those stones up or pulling the sarcophagus up these ramps. It's a time machine. It's literally a time machine.
Then he took us to the chamber where Cheops was buried, the pharaoh, and it was much smaller than I expected.
It was built of granite, and the Egyptian brought granite from Aswan, 600 miles to the south. And each one like 15 to 16 tons, the weight of these slabs. And that is the sarcophagus.
I think that's why there are so many amazing theories, is that this is so perfect, so perfectly put together. The stones weigh 16 tons. Everybody thinks, how could they have done that?
It's easy. There is a method of using sledges, wood, and there is ways that you can push a very heavy stone with few men, and we're still doing it right now in Egypt.
How long would it take for them to?
23 years.
To build Cheops.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me. Oh my God, this is the real thing. We're in Egypt, and these are the pyramids, and this is the Sphinx, and this is the real thing.
This is the first large Sphinx is ever existed in Egypt. If you look at the face, it's a face of a human being.
Yeah.
And it has the copra, which every king in Egypt put the copra to protect him.
Right.
And you have the nemes, which is the royal headdress, and the beard was lost.
He told us about the origin of it, how it was the embodiment of the pharaoh that the second pyramid was named after.
Khafre made this Sphinx to show his power with the body of a lion, to worship the sun god who rises and sets in this temple. The Sphinx has been damaged really by old restoration since 1926. But since 1988 until now, we're doing a major important conservation to the Sphinx.
Before I left, I made sure to touch the Sphinx, just in case there's some magic there.
Don't touch the Sphinx because you will have a curse.
Oh, it has a curse?
You will have one.
What?
If
tell
you
me
touch
about
it.
that. What curse? What's the curse?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. Do they carve each one of these stones
By hand. That's exactly what I want to show you. That's exactly how the ancient Egyptians were cutting the stones. You know, these stones were cut from 5-ton stones. And they cut each one and they smooth it in a way that can fit here. Exactly, based on this fiber foam. Do you believe in reincarnation? I think you were a slave.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
I have
You
that
were.
face?
No, not the face. If you have a face of a queen now, then you were a
Why,
slave before.
thank you.
Ah,
Thank you.
brother.
Did you guys hear that? Face of a queen.
Yeah. Only on the Sphinx.
That's an original door, right?
Of course. That's a granite.
Oh, wow.
You know, they call this the dream stela. This is the ancient Egyptian sacred language. The dream story here is telling us about this king, Thutmose IV, and you see his cartouches here.
What's a cartouche?
Cartouche is a circle that encloses the name of the king, like Min Khebru Ra.
So a cartouche is kind of like a business card or something?
Exactly, it's a business card. Oh, I can give you my business card, by the way. I brought my business card.
Can I have your cartouche,
Mine,
please?
my cartouche.
Thank you.
Thank you. What moved you to do this work?
When I started joining the university to study archaeology, I hated archaeology. But when I started excavating, I mean, can you imagine if you open a tomb for the first time in your life? You don't know what's inside. You open it and you see a statue looking at you that no looked at anyone before, but for you, looking at your eyes, that's exciting. This is really my home. This is my life. If I have offered any job in the world, this is the best job in the world. It's my dream.
It comes from the Islamic Sufi tradition, and they don't get dizzy when they do it, but I do. Next on Travelers!
Our friend Mohammed, our translator, took me to sample some of the local cuisine. We went to this place called Casino de Pigeon, which roughly translated is House of Pigeon.
It's very popular. It's a popular meal here.
You eat pigeons?
Oh, yes, I love them.
Our chef is from a little village just outside of Cairo, and he's been making this pigeon dish for almost 25 years.
You cut the onions.
Give it.
Okay, liver.
Those are guts.
And this
Okay,
is
that's sweet.
wheat,
Yep.
and these are our spices, the things we're gonna need.
Yeah, salt, pepper, Arabian gum.
The whole thing seemed like a cooking show to me, because it was all set up and very presentational. Do we know where they come from? Is it like a truck from New York or something?
تعرف منين بيجي من الأرياف. It's from the countryside. They breed them there.
They breed them.
Yeah.
They raise them like a pigeon farm.
Exactly.
Okay, I feel better.
This is the purest type of beef, of poultry. You know what I mean? It's not greasy like chicken. You know what I mean? It's the purest.
Surgery.
The other little wing off. طريقة الشوي مش كده؟
You're kidding me. It's like right through the bone. There's not much meat on this bird. Actually, it's kind of gross. To take this headless, wingless, naked bird, hold its neck shut, and then shove a bunch of wheat and rice and spices down into its chest until its neck fills up with stuff, and then kind of cross its legs to hold it all in there. Ugh.
خلاص كده لشهادة الخبرة. Yeah, now you're qualified.
And served just like this.
Table 9. On the table.
Your stuffed pigeon, sir, is now served.
Nice hat.
Oh, do you like that?
It's like you're gonna chat, you know? Why don't you serve and, and do your job quietly?
I like this here. Is Patrick serving us?
Is this a dish you can actually eat with your hands then?
Yeah, it's
Because
this is the only poultry you can eat with your hand.
Barb, do you like it? This is pigeon.
I like it. It's pretty good. It tastes like chicken.
It's a lot of work for a little bit of meat.
Yeah. I think you worked this meal off actually eating it.
I think I finished mine.
I can just like that?
Yeah. Good. Yeah, we did good. Not bad.
There's a part of old Cairo called Huria. And you walk through the sidewalks, winding through these market stalls and people selling their stuff. I walked through these streets and arrived at this place called El Huri Palace, which was originally built as a mausoleum for a Mamluk sultan. I went there to see a folk dancing presentation with whirling dervishes. The whirling of the whirling dervish is a dance that comes from the religion of Islam. And it is performed or practiced by a branch of Islam called Sufis, who are Muslim mystics. And they whirl or twirl to find harmony with God. Bundo is this bizarre guy who is a dancer. He's a practicing Sufi.
يعني من عمري 4 سنين كهواية ولما استوعبتها أكتر وأنا عمري 6 سنوات. It started as a hobby when he was 4, and then he started getting really into it when he was 6, when he became 6.
And since you were a little kid. So you must be very good now. Yeah. Do you get dizzy when you spin?
No.
No. No.
يعني مثلا بيبدأوا مثلا من العصر. كانت البداية العصر. He's like, I can go on from starting from 1 hour to 6 hours. And the original Sufis, they used to start, at the sunset till the morning. They keep doing that all night. بيقف لله سبحانه وتعالى بيدعي وهو واقف مش هو بيجري. Yeah, he's like, what's most important about the circle is that you're fixed in one position. And it's like when you pray to God, you don't do that running. You just stand there and, and pray. But in his case, there is no verbal communication, you know what I mean? It's just a movement, to get you out of this world.
What happens to you when you dance? Why spin?
رفعني من على الأرض كان بيدور بيه. It's like when you spin, he feels that the angels or something is lifting him, elevating his spirit up. But what's he's sure of is that it's something that elevates him, and he doesn't feel the weight, and as if he's dancing over water.
Will you show me a little bit? Will you show me how to do it a little bit? I need enlightenment whenever I can get it. Yes? Yes? Slowly.
Faster. Hey, come on, faster. More. Yeah. All right.
I felt like I was spinning for 3 minutes, and I'm sure I was spinning for about 20 seconds, and I was so dizzy I wanted to throw up, and I fell over and I couldn't stand up. I hate spinning rides. I haven't done a spinning ride since I was a kid. And it's just as bad as a spinning ride.
Carry me?
Yes.
While he's spinning?
Yes.
Are you strong enough to lift me? I weigh about 195 pounds, pal.
That's how.
Yeah, sure, why not?
And he picked me up on his shoulders like a professional wrestler and just spun around laughing maniacally the whole time. And how do you say stop in Egyptian?
This is a unique religion.
When we come back, I'm going to Cairo's Khana Khalili market with a family of women that love to shop. Is this a belly dancer's hat? Yes. The hand symbol. Oh yeah. I love these. I was invited to the home of an Egyptian family, and I had the chance to talk to 3 generations of Egyptian women. Hello. How are you? I'm Barbara. They invited me in, and I met the daughter, Nora Sati, who's 23, and she just graduated from college. Her mother, Shams Noor, and her mother, Zainab. Zainab is 70-something, she wouldn't say, but she's a fiery older woman. Thank you. It's a beautiful house. Thank you so much. The women here in Cairo, many of them cover themselves, cover their heads and cover their necks with a scarf, and they call it a hijab. I noticed that you're wearing the hijab. Is that how you call it?
Yes, yes.
And the two of you aren't.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Women in particular, it is religious.
And for
issue.
you, it's a religious issue?
Yes, yes. I feel comfortable. Like praying, like doing prayers, like fasting in the month of Ramadan, and otherwise. It's to complete my religion image for my own self, for my feelings.
How do you feel about the fact that your daughter has chosen to wear a hijab?
It is up to the person himself.
Why do you not wear it?
Because all my life I don't wear it.
It's no big deal because it's like an Egyptian asking you, do you feel comfortable wearing shorts? And why do you wear shorts? And why do you show your legs so much? It's just something you do and you've been doing all your life.
I had heard that Nora might be getting married. So, of course, I started asking questions.
So, do you have a boyfriend, or how would you call it here?
Well, cut.
Are marriages arranged, or do you meet your mate in school or anywhere else, or
works both
do
ways.
you pick him for her?
It works both ways. I mean, the aunties get together and chat on the phone, and I have a wonderful suitor for your daughter, and blah blah blah.
My mother was free to choose her husband, but she was 17 when she got married. And I was free to choose my husband, but I was 21 when I got married. And now my daughter is free to choose her husband, but she is 23 and she's not married yet.
How do you feel about that? One of the things they love to do is go shopping. So they took me to this market called Khana Khalili, where they do a lot of their shopping. Khalili is one of the most famous markets, if not the most famous market in Cairo. It's hundreds of years old. It's huge. A woman's paradise. Is this a belly dancer's hat?
Yes, could be. No, could make.
Oh yeah, belly dancer hat. How do the women feel about the belly dancers? How do Egyptian women feel?
They're nice. It's like watching any show. It's fun.
The hand symbol.
Oh yeah.
I love these.
Some of the herbs here, I don't really know what they're using it for, but they are all types and kinds coming from all over the world.
Devil nail. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Joseph's Beauty.
I heard, yes, but I don't know for what they're using it.
You even have monkey testicles.
Yes, imagine.
Like the regular perfumes you buy it anywhere else, they're essences.
What's the difference between an essence and perfume?
An essence is very concentrated.
Oh, he's going to mix it.
It's in a very concentrated form.
Wow, it is. Very powerful. Wonderful. We ended our date by going over to the Egyptian pancake shop. This is what they do when the three of them go to Khana Khalili together. They explained that Egyptian pancakes are sort of like pizza, but they're really not. They can stuff it with, a bunch of great sweet things like jam and sugar and dates. We sat out there, we had some Egyptian pancakes, and then we just said goodbye. It was great.
I've had a great time.
Anytime.
The story of 2 wives, 35 days in the desert, and a whole lot of camels.
Next on Travelers. When you come to Egypt, you expect to see camels, and you will. But there are only 2 places in Cairo where you'll see them. Near the pyramids, where tourists take pictures and ride them, and at the camel market at Bedesh.
Egypt imports about 250,000 camels a year from Sudan, and they're all sold at the camel market, mostly for their hides and for their meat. But when we arrived, it was this big, dusty, hot, sandy place that was like a bazaar for camels. That was it. Camels are us.
I expected camels to be more gentle than I found that they were. They're stubborn animals, and they seem kind of cranky too.
It's like early in the morning they have the auctions.
They spit on you?
That's saliva.
Our guide Mohammed took us over to meet one of the men that actually brings the camels up from Sudan to the market here in Cairo.
It takes 35 to 40 days.
By trucks? Are they transported on trucks? or-
بتيجوا بعربيات ولا بيجوا ماشيين؟
لا نجي ماشيين بالصحراء.
No, they come, walking in the desert.
Wow.
Tell us, what makes a good camel?
كفتة تلقى له طعمة لكن في الأكل لا. ممكن يتم له ساعتين في الحلة وما
ياخذ ساعتين ياخذ ثلاثة. He's saying that the older the camel gets, the harder it's the meat, becomes, you know what I mean? And it becomes very hard to eat as a separate meal. But if you mince it, you know what I mean? Then it's edible.
Camels are really weird to look at, and when they open their mouth and go at you, it's pretty gross.
Ask him if he's married.
متجوز؟ He's married to 2.
واحدة هنا في مصر وواحدة
You have 2 wives?
Yeah, one here in Egypt, one back in Sudan.
All right. You're the man. He asked Barbara and I if we wanted to ride one. So we did. You all right there, Barbara?
Yeah, he's breathing. Camels are hard to ride because they don't have a seat area like a horse, It's not like a nice little indentation that you just kind of fit into a groove. It's a hump.
Your butt and the hump become one. So this is what it would be like for 35 days, huh?
There's a lot of movement back here, Fierce. I feel like I'm gonna fall. Side here. It felt like I'd fallen on the crossbar of the bike. It just hurt. Got it, Pierce?
Yeah. Inshallah! How you doing there? Hold that puppy down, okay?
What'd you bring us here for?
Because here the village is having a celebration. You see, they always will have a party to entertain the village people. Something good must have happened here. Maybe a wedding, maybe someone has come back from pilgrimage. But it's a way to tell everybody that they are in a joyous mood.
In our case, they performed them for us because they wanted to welcome us and they wanted to share a little piece of their life with us. They wanted to share their traditions with us. They wanted to say, this is how we do things here.
One of the things they do is this thing called cane fighting. It's an age-old tradition here, and it kind of symbolizes the battle between good and evil.
But he was always sort of fighting for camera time with the other guy, like they were both hands and they wanted to get their faces in the camera.
Now, it's not just men dancing with sticks here. We actually saw horses dancing to the same music. And all of a sudden, this horse sneezed and blew a pound of horse snot all over us. I mean, it was hanging off my face, and how do you look dignified with that? I'm like,
Hi, I'm from another country and I have horse snot all over my face. So you just sort of rock side to side on this horse, and the crowd runs wildly from you. Now, is it the horse that's dancing, or is it the rider that's dancing?
هو الحصان اللي بيرقص ولا انت اللي بيرقص؟ He says it's the horse that's dancing.
It was the event. The women were out and they were doing their thing that they do with their mouths to express joy. It was something like woo, 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 woo.
When we come back, we're going to stay overnight with the monks in a Coptic monastery in the desert.
90% of the people of Cairo are Muslim, and for the past 1,000 years, Cairo has been the largest Islamic city in the Arab world. Religious laws govern marriage, divorce, and inheritance. 5 times a day, you'll hear the call to prayer. Even television programming is interrupted for these prayers.
The call for prayer is done 5 times a day, and this is to announce to the Muslims that this is the time to go and pray. So it has to do with the sunrise and sunset. People rely a great deal on God, on Allah, and they believe that everything is in the hand of Allah. You can pray at home, you can play on the street, any place.
Patrick and I did this really cool thing. We spent the night at a monastery in the middle of the desert, about 75 miles outside of Cairo. I guess you knock. I mean, what do you do? How do you get into a monastery? You knock.
Hello.
Hello.
And good evening and welcome to the monastery.
Thank you. So the majority of Egypt is Muslim, but somewhere around 10% are Christians. They call them Coptic Christians, which means Egyptian Christians because Coptic means Egyptian. Your father Sidrak?
Yes, me.
I'm Pierce.
Welcome, Pierce.
Thank you.
And I'm Patrick.
Welcome, Patrick. Nice to meet you.
Can you tell me where we are?
This is Saint Bashir Monastery, which is from the 4th century. And we would like to explain to you everything about the monastery, but because it's late in the evening, we'll delay to tomorrow.
Well, what time do we get started tomorrow?
The best time for you to start 3:45, because we'll meet in the church that time and start our day by our midnight prayers.
We probably should get to bed then, right?
Sure.
We'll follow you.
Yes, sure.
He said it's a pretty long walk, so we should get back in the bus and drive there, which is totally bizarre. Here is this man who looks like he's from another age.
This way.
Leading us on, this way, to the mess hall. They call it midnight prayer, but it's actually 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's what time things start around here.
We go through the doorway into this area where we take our shoes off, and I was not prepared for what I saw.
This is our traditional prayer. We have this sort of life to start our day before sunrise.
Could you show me a little bit of the grounds?
Yes, here you see these cells. These are the oldest cells which we still have in the monastery. They are from the 9th century.
And a cell is where a monk lives.
A cell where a monk lives. And you see the walls are very thick. You see this window is double window. And we can put some food, some drinks for the monk in this place. And if he wants to stay in complete solitude, he can.
How old is this building?
4th century building.
That's the
Yes,
one.
this is
That's
the
the
one.
oldest one.
The oldest building in the place.
Century.
Before Father Sidrak became a monk, he was a veterinarian.
And what brought you here?
I was thinking, what can I do with my life? What the best thing I can do with my life? I asked myself, shall I get married and have a family and start continuing in my job? Or shall I seek for a higher goal? And after a lot of thinking, I decided finally to dedicate all my life for God's service.
Is there an ultimate goal? Is there
Yes.
one single goal?
Yes.
What is that?
Perfectness. To live a perfect life. If I love God and I have faith in the real life and the eternal life, so I am very happy with this understanding of the meaning of life.
I was able to talk to Father Mauritius, who is Egyptian but grew up in Australia.
I always had the idea of, coming to Egypt and living in the desert as a monk and worshipping God.
Even as a kid, you mean?
It developed when I was 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone home? Do you ever leave the monastery?
No.
No, that's part of it.
Monks, yeah.
Monks don't leave.
No, don't leave. This is it. Apart from these walls here, we have a beautiful desert out there. I don't know if you've seen it. You've seen the desert?
I've seen some desert, but I don't think I've seen your desert.
Okay.
The coolest thing was driving around in this VW bus and having this casual conversation with Father Mauritius. I felt like I was on the monk patrol.
Guess what? We'll have to open the door ourselves. Come on.
Okay. He's just pointing stuff out to me. Oh, here's where that happens. Here's where that. There's where the hermits are.
The hermits would stay for a week out here, and then we'll go on Saturday and Sunday to prayers in the monastery.
Do you ever just miss those little comic books or TVs or?
I love cartoons.
Oh, you do?
And when my brother comes each year, he usually gets a couple of cartoon tapes for me.
So you have a VCR?
Yeah.
And there's no mystery about it. Just because this is very religious doesn't mean that I'm different from you.
So it's a beautiful place here. And, I'd welcome anyone from abroad to come and visit us. Just ask for Father Mauritius.
When we come back, a desert safari. We're exploring the Sahara.
And driving the dunes. Next on Travelers!
We went out into the desert and we met this guy named Raed Badar. And his job, his life, is about taking people on desert adventures.
We went west of Cairo. This is our turn-off point to go into the desert. We will go in towards this chain of sand dunes here. And this is a GPS, which stands for Global Positioning System.
Of course, I don't even know how to use my CD player, so I couldn't tell what they were doing, but I know they were very important instruments. Otherwise, we'd be seriously lost in the desert, and that's not something you want to do.
When you go into the desert, as I said, you have to have enough fuel, enough water, extra cans of food, whatever food it is, even if more than you would need, and flares. Just in case. You have to have flares.
Rat Patrol.
Hang in there. Are we stuck already?
No.
All right.
How fast are you going?
70 kilometers an hour.
I feel like I'm on a camel.
I just want to see what it looks like on top of a sand dune.
Yeah, let's go up there. You'll have a very nice view up there.
I think it's worth it, no matter how
yeah.
tired we are, huh?
It's getting softer. Yeah,
Yeah.
very soft. Look at that.
Look at this sharp edge.
Yeah, look at it.
Look at this. This is like
being on the roof.
It's incredible.
It's like art class, you know?
Yeah.
Dark and light.
You come out here. What is it that you like about the desert? There's nothing out here.
That's exactly why I'm here. Exactly. Silence, cleanliness, and nobody around. And nature, beauty. What do you want more? We forget sometimes to appreciate the silence. Sound of silence. That's what you hear in the desert. My mother was a geologist. My grandfather was also a geologist. I'm not a geologist. I'm an engineer, but I was almost literally born in the desert. I mean, even I accompanied my mother in her expeditions when I was 2 and 3 years old. And probably the desert is the first thing my eyes saw.
Look how the sand just flows right down then.
Yes. You know what happens? It's moving. Sand dunes are in constant motion. If you come a year later, this is going to be a few meters in front. And that's why you should never mark the desert with sand dunes, because they're always moving. They can never be a reference point.
It was just so exhilarating. Had the wind blowing through your face. This is boy fantasy stuff here, man, and that's what I was doing, and I was so excited to be doing it. It was so much fun.
Oh my God! I mean, the car was going sideways. Cars don't go sideways unless they're skidding. Unless you're headed for an accident. So for me, that just felt like, oh.
What are you scared about? We're fine.
Okay, you want to get back down inside here?
Yeah,
okay.
All right, we'll switch.
Hey, Barb,
Yeah.
it's like really wet back here.
Okay.
We hit those sand dunes, and it's a strange feeling because it is like riding on the sea. You can feel it shift beneath you. You can feel it kind of wave. And when you're standing up in the back of a Jeep, that's a pretty scary feeling. Hey, what do you think there? You look older.
You have gray hair. What happened to you?
You love it or what?
I loved it. I was scared as heck, but I loved it.
I want to go down it. Go down that side.
Walking.
I don't know, any way I can.
Or rolling.
Rolling? Yeah? You roll down it?
You can. Come, I show you.
It was awesome. I felt like a 6-year-old playing in a sandbox with my buddies. It was just awesome.
I gave myself a fat lip.
How do you get back up?
Sorry, you can.
Ah!
See you later.
Barbara, what have you done to us now?
It's called shisha. It's a very Egyptian thing. It's this big water pipe that they put hot coals and tobacco at the top of, and you just come to cafes and you smoke with friends. It's a way to relax.
Oh, okay.
Try it. Tell me what you think.
Give it a tug, Pat.
That's relaxing.
I knew that was going to happen.
You know, I have to say, this has got to be the most exotic place I've ever been to in my life. New sights, new sounds, new smells. It's been sensory overload sometimes.
See, I was ready for that sensory overload. Ever since I was a kid, I've been dreaming about that land of camels and pyramids, and now I've finally seen it.
You know, what makes some place exotic? It's magical, it's mysterious, and you can either be totally terrified of that, or you can just go for it and have a good time. I think we had a good time.
We went for it.
Yeah, man. Hey, we'll see you next time on Travelers.
Bye.
Bye. I'm getting it. No, I'm getting it.